The universal standardized summoning and banishing ritual of Qasid al-Tos. This material was compounded and distributed in conjunction with the Athenaeum, an institution working in conjunction with the Luminous Order, Loop 3. It may be freely distributed provided its contents are not augmented or truncated, and provided this message and the star of the Athenaeum are not disturbed. Namast, 93 216, Fire Eternal. In the name of the Horned God, I offer to you my entire heart to ensure that you are well. The ceremony which follows may be used as a means to summon any spirit desired, so long as the magician, herein called the summoner, either knows the elemental rulership of the spirit or is confident to assign this rulership. In reality, all spirits exist in all of the elements, and summoning one specific elemental aspect or avatar serves to further fine-tune the magician's intention. An aspirant who is unfamiliar with the elements from classical Greece may not proceed further until they have a working understanding of the four elements. It is best if the aspirant is also familiar with at least one form of astrology, but this is not necessary. The aspirant may notice that instructions regarding visualization are not made explicit in the text of the ritual. If the aspirant notices that an instruction appears to be physically impossible, such as igniting an area in fire of a specific color, or manifesting an immaterial shape, it is to be understood that these actions are visualized. Visualizations do not need to be literally seen with the open eyes as occurring in three-dimensional space, so long as immersion in the visualization is so sufficient that there is no doubt in the summoner's mind if the visualization is there or not. One who doubts their imagination will find little success in high magic. The same is true of seeing a spirit. It should be noted by aspirants unfamiliar with ceremonial magic, who have not performed a summoning or are not accustomed to seeing spirits with open eyes, that the phenomenon of full appearance may not resemble what is expected. The appearance of a spirit will be abundantly clear, if the spirit has chosen to appear, but may only be seen in Ajna Chakra, or heard as a voice inside of the head of the summoner, or felt as a strong presence. The transcriber described the phenomenon of spirit apparition to me, as he experiences it, as a blurring of light or the appearance of faint magenta crystals akin to the visual symptoms of a migraine headache. He stated to me that if he directs his focus on the crystals, the spirit will appear in greater detail in his Ajna Chakra, which is the imagination, but specifically localized inside of the head as if projected onto a screen inside of the mind. The image of a spirit which has fully appeared will not require any active imagination on the part of the summoner. He then asked me to emphasize again that it is different for each individual, and that the individual should trust their intuition if their intention be pure and their respect for the craft appropriate. Preparations and purification. Prior to conducting this, or any, ceremony, one must be aurically and pranically pure from the time they wake to the time the ritual is performed. During this time, the summoner must not eat unclean, sugar or fat-rich food, take any drink or drug, unless the sacrament, and only at the designated time, or reach sexual climax. No printed or audio-visual material, books, music, movies or internet, should be taken during this time. The summoner should take a ritual bath. If a long-acting sacrament, a psychedelic other than dimethyltryptamine, cannabis etc., is to be taken, it should be taken just before this bath. There are no special requirements during the bath other than to relax the mind and detoxify the body. The bath should begin hot, followed immediately afterwards by a rinse in the coldest water tolerable. This will purify the prana as much as possible. Sweat from the hot water, without inhibiting the aura, cold water to snap the mind back to focus. Following this, prayers should be given to the rulers of the elements. The rulers prefer the summoner devise their own prayers, but here are the prayers that were devised during a collaborative effort of myself, the transcriber, and our common cause. Prostrating, facing west, the rulers of water. This third arm is to be intoned by the summoner for as long as possible, until collapse. Turning counterclockwise to the east and again prostrating, rulers of fire. Lady of the sun, cruel king bird of the sky, forgive me, but know that I will never stop. I know that I am thy favorite son. Our core in the center of my chest, through the flesh, is the 10th lie. Forgive your sons, elder brother, but I shall devour him. As previously, final arm is intoned until collapse. Turning counterclockwise to the south and again prostrating, ruler of earth. Dread Kronos, who is my true father, protect my angelic hand and the I know I am in Sorf's world without end. Thou know my will even if thou despise my shaking human heart. Aum Setication, as previously, is intoned until collapse. Turning counterclockwise a final time and again prostrating, ruler of air. I am the air, Lord of light, bringer of void and voice, which holds death smiling in my heart and right hand, who holds love weeping in my left hand, my imploding eye, smoldering loin, exploding crown. I am Christ. Do you hear me, elder brother? Aum lux fel. There is no closing arm. This intonation is screamed at full volume repeatedly until the summoner collapses. Preliminary correspondence notes. Namast, 93 In the name of the horned god, I pray your pains tolerable and your punishments metered. I offer to you my heart to hope that you are well. The following indicate the directions of the corners: east is fire, south is earth, west is water, northwest is chaos and northeast is air. The five-corner system forms a diabolic pentagram when viewed from above, as upon a compass rose. Clearing the field and banishing undesired spirits just before the ceremony. Determine which element the spirit you intend to summon is ruled by. Begin 1/4 turn counterclockwise of this element. For example, to summon a water spirit, west, begin facing south. Chaos and air are treated as one corner, and air will always be invoked before chaos, so for either chaos or air begin facing west. Facing the beginning corner, one traces the Leviathan cross over one's body using the left hand. This cross is traced beginning from the crown, just above the top of the head, to the solar plexus around the navel, with a lemon skate around the navel. Following this, the axis is crossed first at the third eye in the center of the forehead, to cease all idle imaginations, and then at the mouth, to cease all idle and foolish words. As one is making the cross, one banishes all unwanted spirits from the ritual space. This may be done many ways. The words used by Alex Sarnilan are: I bid all thee in lurking to flee lest thee be consumed in the coming storm, but I, Qasid Altors, felt this to be somewhat vague. However, this or anything similar is acceptable. After this warning, the spirits are to be incinerated in the light of the fire of one's ray color, typically one's favorite color, flecked with white and black as well as any secondary colors deemed appropriate by the summoner. This is intended to permanently obliterate the disobedient spirits, which they should understand from the words of the summoner's banishment. Drawing the magic circle. Following this, one traces a diabolic pentagram, 2 points up, with one's wand, blade or middle finger. The tracing must always be done with the non-dominant hand. A right-handed individual uses their left hand, a left-handed individual uses their right hand. In each situation, one always traces moving towards the left. There are diagrams attached if this is unclear. When the pentagram has been traced, it is to be ignited a flame in the color corresponding to its element. Those suggested by Alex Cernailan and approved by Qasid autors are purple for water, red for fire, black for earth, white for air and rainbow for chaos. Magenta may also be used for chaos, but this is not preferred as it is assigned this color by the adherents of Peter Carroll thought for different purposes and a different meaning of the word chaos. When the color is activated, the summoner gently pushes the pentagram with the hand opposite the tracing hand, one's dominant hand, the right hand if one traced with the left and the left if one traced with the right. The blazing pentagram will be felt lock into place. At this time, the summoner turns counterclockwise and repeats the same at the next corner. This is done with all corners until the final corner, which corresponds to the element of the conjured spirit, is reached. When the circle is complete, it should be ignited in a manner similar to the pentagrams, counterclockwise on the ground at an even distance from the summoner. The final product for visualization should be a field of the appropriate elemental color, flecked as desired, circular in nature but limitless in feeling. Assuming the god form to summon. At this time, the summoner extends their right hand, middle finger aloft, to the sky and states aloud, "Above me doth radiate the implosive light of the hypercosmic Father." Following this, with the right hand remaining aloft, the summoner extends their left hand, first two fingers aloft, thumb tucked to third finger as in root mudra, diagonally towards the ground and states aloud, "And beneath me doth burn the expansive darkness of the hypercosmic Mother." These things should be done very quickly. At this time, both hands should be brought level, with palms up, and the summoner states aloud, "I do pull both to the center in an unnatural synthesis to make all matter null, except by my desire and only so long as my whim. I birth myself in the void, emergent as the hypercosmic Christ child. I am the only thing which exists in the universe." This is the point at which those who are using short-acting sacraments, salvia divinorum, dimethyltryptamine and derivatives, smoked phencyclidine or derivatives, high-THC cannabis, difluoroethane etc. Neither Qasid autors nor Alex Cernailan, who transcribed and standardized this ritual, recommend this method nor these sacraments, but it is not forbidden and may be appropriate for certain rituals. As a magician, you certainly understand that you are accountable for your own destiny and all consequences therein. Alex Cernailan, who transcribed these words, chuckled when I spoke them, but I do not find this matter to be so entertaining. Summoning and interfacing with the spirit. At this time, one may call the spirit in whichever way they desire. Alex Cernailan, who transcribed this material, preferred to kneel and speak at comfortable volume. Qasid autors, approved of this method and saw that Alex Cernailan had satisfactory and consistent results. When the spirit has arrived, one discusses their business with the spirit in a normal manner, akin to speaking to an esteemed professional as one does in business with mortals. Gifts should be presented at such time the summoner feels appropriate, and relevant credentials presented to the spirit in the same fashion. Expect the spirit to react in a manner consistent with its personality, and remember that not all spirits speak in the same manner. Some are more rich in vocabulary than the most educated man, others barely speak and present themselves with sensations and feelings. Others speak through their actions. It is also important to remember that spirits do not experience time in the same way that we as mortals do, and when anticipating immediate results to remember that we have no way of defining immediacy from the standpoint of the spirits, nor can they comprehend our perception of time as to provide us with answers. Demanding human time frames may likely confuse or offend the spirit, or cause the spirit to perceive the summoner as incompetent. They may refuse to do business, or may retaliate against the conjurer. Concluding ceremony and closing the magic circle. When all of this has been done, the summoner grants the spirit license to depart in language the summoner deems appropriate. Following this, the summoner takes the right hand and waves, from right to left, the blazing pentagram in the corner they are presently facing. The blazing pentagram will be erased by this action. The summoner will turn, this time clockwise, around the circle and perform this in each corner, closing the magic circle. At this time, the magical ritual is complete. The summoner may return to mundane life if it is so chosen, but a day stayed in prayer and contemplation is preferred both by Alex Cernailan, who transcribed this material, and I, Qasid Altos. Do what thou will shall be the whole of the lore, love is the lore. This material was compounded and distributed in conjunction with the Athenaeum, an institution working in conjunction with the Luminous Order, Loop 3. It may be freely distributed provided its contents are not augmented or truncated in such situations where either this message or the star of the Athenaeum are not disturbed. Contact may be made at luminousorder3@gmail.com. We continuously strive for academic rigor in discussing the nature of the subtle forces, and what they may do.